Tonight, healthcare workers stage what they call a pop-up protest at the provincial legislature.
Every death we're seeing is a death that's preventable.
We'll have more on their demands as the number of patients in ICUs reaches another record high. Plus,
this is not just a workout, this is a movement, this is a campaign, and this is a protest.
dozens defy a stay-at-home order to combat the current ban on outdoor group fitness that they say has devastated their industry. And
being a Black person at times like these in North America, it's like being stuck in the middle of a battleground.
We'll tell you the story of Battleground, a new short documentary that highlights the experience of being Black in Canada.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Good evening, I'm Marival Tarouk. Healthcare workers took to Queen's Park today hoping to have their voices heard. They're calling on the provincial government to stop playing politics with the pandemic. This comes as the number of cases dipped slightly today, but ICU admissions are going up. Talia Ricci reports.
These doctors, nurses, and other health workers kept their demonstration short today. They don't want to be gathering, but feel they have no other choice.
Stop playing politics with people's lives!
Outside of the provincial legislature, the healthcare workers demanded employer-paid sick days and prioritizing essential workers in marginalized communities in the vaccine rollout.
People are dying. And that's why we're out here, and that's why we're asking for these specific measures that we know is based in evidence.
The number of patients in Ontario ICUs with COVID-19 has been steadily increasing, reaching a record high each day for the past 19 days.
We're seeing people in the waiting room who should be in the ICU. Vaccines. I want vaccines like tomorrow. I want vaccines immediately.
So do the hundreds of residents who have been spending hours waiting in lineups like this one in Downsview, a Toronto COVID-19 hotspot.
We just lined up early, hoping that, they haven't ran out of vaccines.
Right now, a quarter of the province's vaccines go to hotspots. On Friday, Ontario's COVID-19 Science Advisory Table said that number should go up to 50%, saying it would reduce case counts, hospitalizations, and deaths.
I would actually push even further or reframe the Science Table's recommendation and say, how comfortable are we allowing to continue to see people die and suffer in these neighborhoods?
These are our newest Canadians, our racialized Canadians, and to the extent that those structural inequities existed even before the pandemic, I think the pandemic simply worsened them.
Doctors know it'll be a while before they see relief.
I have never been more anxious in this pandemic until this wave.
Last week, Premier Doug Ford promised a paid sick leave program is coming. His office says they'll have more to say about it in the coming days. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Today, the province reported 3,947 cases and 24 more deaths. This is the third time in the last week that Ontario has seen fewer than 4,000 cases overall. Toronto, though, marking the 16th straight day of more than 1,000 new cases, and the city marking a grim milestone. As of today, Toronto has recorded 3,011 total deaths. The Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador says he has been speaking with Premier Doug Ford about the details regarding healthcare professionals heading to Ontario. He's offered the province support in the form of personnel, expertise, and extra equipment. In a tweet earlier today, Andrew Furey said details are coming together on the contingent of healthcare professionals heading to Ontario to offer help, and that, quote, looks like they'll be on their way Tuesday. An update is expected on Monday. The provincial stay-at-home order means outdoor gatherings are banned and outdoor amenities other than playgrounds are closed. The orders include group fitness classes that have been largely shuttered for months. But as Chris Glover reports, that hasn't stopped a growing movement from protesting the government's rules.
Defying a stay-at-home order, dozens work out together to demand outdoor fitness classes be deemed essential.
We are allowed to peacefully assemble and get our voices heard.
Outdoor group fitness is currently banned by the province, but the group United We Fight says it's committed to building more than muscles.
This is not just a workout, this is a movement, this is a campaign, and this is a protest.
Boxing instructor Jordan Thomas says the workout demonstrations have not led to COVID transmission. Since it's a weekend, Toronto Public Health says it can't retrieve data on whether or not that's true.
We have QR codes lined up, we have contact tracing, we have every single measure that shows the government that we can do this in a very effective and safe way.
Group outdoor fitness classes were allowed to restart in Toronto and Peel at the end of March, but after less than a week, the province banned them again. Since, there have been several large demonstrations at popular Toronto landmarks, led by a group of fitness studios arguing COVID restrictions have crippled their industry needlessly.
It's been very detrimental to how we make business. The online space can only go so far. Everyone has the Zoom fatigue.
We know it's a lot safer outdoors than indoors, but it's not completely safe.
Dr. Jeff Kwong is a senior scientist with an independent group that conducts public health research in Ontario. While he's not aware of outdoor fitness classes leading to COVID transmission, he has concerns with the large demos.
I mean, I'm all for doing activities outdoors, but I think any type of gathering can be very dangerous, especially if they're not wearing masks and especially if they're breathing heavily.
Indoor fitness has caused COVID spread. Dozens were infected, for example, at a Hamilton spin studio last year. But this month, as the province banned outdoor amenities, including tennis and golf, even many medical experts pushed for them to be allowed. And around 40,000 people signed this petition demanding the government change course.
And that's why we named the campaign United We Fight, because we're all stronger together.
Thomas says these outdoor fitness classes are just an extension of that same activism.
All right, guys. Thank you guys very much for today.
And he says they'll continue until the province listens. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Mississauga's Bianca Andreescu has announced she's tested positive for COVID-19. The tennis star had just arrived in Spain to compete in the Madrid Open. She's withdrawn from the tournament, but says right now she is feeling well, resting, and following health protocols, and hopes to be back on the court soon. Andreescu says she tested negative twice before flying to Madrid. A live look at Niagara Falls for you tonight. Environment Canada issuing a frost advisory for the region. 2 degrees there right now. Temperatures, though, expected to drop near or below the freezing mark overnight. Let's check in with Sophia for more details on that. I mean, today in Toronto, a little chilly for my liking, but that sunshine was really welcome.
Yeah, you know what, it was kind of the day where it was almost nicer looking out in the window at the beautiful sunshine than it was walking in it, because the winds were very cold and very gusty. Yesterday though, near perfect weekend day. Perfect to get out and stretch the legs, do a little bit of gardening. We'll talk about what the flowers have to deal with the frost in just a minute. Still a little chilly around the bend, still pretty gusty as well with those winds, some nearly 40-kilometer-an-hour gusts. Still being recorded around the GTA. It's a north-northwesterly wind, so it is very cold as well. Will continue gusty 40, 50 kilometers an hour even into the overnight period. So cold that, yes, we have frost advisories out. They almost at the end of April. You know, the flowers had to get through the snow earlier in the week, and now they've got to get through frost, especially if you're in Windsor, Essex, Niagara region, or even in the city of Toronto. You want to bring in any frost-sensitive plants or cover up what you can. Because, yeah, temperatures will be hovering around the freezing mark or a little bit below. We'll actually feel much cooler as well with the wind, about -6, what the feels like with the wind chill in the city of Toronto, and even colder as you're heading up to Cottage Country, -10 for those of you in Huntsville. We warm slightly with low pressure coming in on Monday. The clouds come in, but we're seasonal with the southerly flow. So much of a southerly flow on Tuesday and Wednesday that we actually could hit 20-degree summer-like warmth, but it'll be very selective who gets this warm up. I'll tell you why and who in the long range.
The flowers have to hang on for a couple days.
There's warmth coming, I promise.
Okay, we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Thanks, Sophia.
It's really weird to feel like you're this issue in society and that the world is divided with how much they should care about you.
A powerful new documentary called Battleground was released this week, inspired by conversations had following George Floyd's murder last May. It takes a deeper dive into what it means to be Black in Canada. Coming up, we'll talk to the filmmakers. But first, this. The Queer Muslim Network held an iftar drive today, providing meals to those observing Ramadan. 50 meals were made and either dropped off or picked up by those in the community. The founder said it's a way to help people feel connected.
To provide meals so we can feel a little bit more together from afar. It's been a really wonderful opportunity to connect the community. When you're a queer Muslim, you're a double minority, so it's kind of double the isolation, especially during this time. So it's just a really good way for us to connect with each other and support each other.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Two Toronto filmmakers released a short documentary this week highlighting the experience of being Black in Canada. Battleground was inspired by conversations they had following George Floyd's murder. They began filming that week and released the film the day after former police officer Derek Chauvin was found guilty. Battleground explores overt and subtle racism many Black people experience and how it can shape one's identity. Angelina King spoke with those involved and gives us this sneak peek.
It's really weird to feel like you're this issue in society and that the world is divided with how much they should care about you. It's weird to be like a battleground.
I moved to a bunch of small Ontario towns where I was literally the only Black person. It was incredibly difficult and confusing because I was raised in these towns and I thought like these kids in some ways and I talked like these kids in some ways, but they always saw me as different.
Before this film, had you talked a lot about being Black and your experiences and the racism that you've experienced?
Not really.
How come?
It didn't feel like anyone wanted to hear about it, really. And it felt like for me to bring it up would just annoy people, but there was no space to talk about it.
I know my grandmother wasn't very pleased.
Yeah.
If you remember when we first started dating, she told me that she was going to cut me out of the will if I married a Black woman.
What made you want to do this and have these honest conversations in such a public way?
I wanted to share with actually specifically women like myself who are, I'm in my 40s and I've grown up in this country and we haven't really shared our stories. We've kept them silent. And secondly, I wanted to share it for my white colleagues, my white counterparts and peers, so that it would encourage others to know that they haven't journeyed alone and also inspire others to be allies and to build bridges for racial equality.
Being a white man and co-directing this film, what did you learn?
It gave me the chance to ask Kwesi, hey, have I said or done anything as your friend that's made you uncomfortable about race or made you insecure or hurt you? And, I'm really grateful because Kwesi was honest and pointed out some stuff for me.
I think another thing that's really important is to not be satisfied with not being racist. Like, you don't want to just say to your kid, oh, I don't hate you. It's like, no, let me show you that I love you. Because to love someone is to know what hurts them, and that opens the door to conversations.
We're hoping that this is a moment where we're shifting from people being not racist to being anti-racist, seeing it as something that we need to work actively together towards dismantling in our culture and in our society. Well, we want people to be able to empathize, not just to think about Black people as someone that you just take a stance with in a political issue or a stance against in a political debate, but as humans who have stories and who live their lives in relation to these issues.
That was our Angelina King reporting. You can watch Battleground online now on Vimeo.com or Mark Bone's website, markbone.com. Well, India has set a global record for new COVID-19 cases for a fourth straight day, reporting more than 349,000 new infections just today. On the ground, what that looks like is chaotic, heartbreaking, and difficult to watch. A warning, the report you're about to see contains distressing images. CBC's Briar Stewart has the latest.
In this temple parking lot on the outskirts of Delhi, a desperate attempt to save those with nowhere else to go. This woman has stopped breathing. Oxygen is brought out and volunteers start CPR. Inside each of these cars is someone gasping for air, and it's a similar scene outside many of the overwhelmed hospitals.
We need oxygen immediately. There is no help, no hope.
Families, even hospital staff, are lining up trying to secure a potentially life-saving supply of oxygen. This man paid more than $500 US for a canister on the black market yesterday for his 70-year-old father. It's now empty. Oxygen and other medical supplies are starting to be shipped in from Asia and Europe. And today the US said it would be sending India the raw materials to produce more vaccines. But it's all too late for the thousands now dying daily. Amidst the anguish is a palpable anger.
I am totally disheartened in the situation which I am seeing. Government is a literal failure.
Niraj Walia's days are full of worry and frustration. He has family in northern India. One relative died of COVID 5 days ago, and some of his cousins are now infected.
This is my mom.
He's particularly worried about his 70-year-old mother, who's isolating at home.
She's not able to go outside because of that. The fear may get infected. I can't even do fly. I can't even do go. And if I go, I can't help them.
Because the healthcare system is on the brink of collapse. The surge of cases means the country can't care for the sick, let alone properly cremate the dead. Makeshift funeral pyres are being built around the clock, and the fear is that the death toll is much higher than what's officially being reported. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
A fire at a hospital in Baghdad has left 82 people dead. The hospital was devoted to COVID-19 patients. Treating pandemic patients requires, as you've seen, oxygen, and it was an oxygen tank that exploded. Some people jumped to safety, others were carried down stairways as the building was being gutted. More than 100 people were injured. Iraq's health minister has been suspended in response, pending an investigation into what the prime minister is calling negligence. A virtual concert put on by some talented children. The audience, a group of music-loving seniors. That story is next. Entertainment's motto is "The show must go on." And in the face of the pandemic, that's what happened tonight at the 93rd Academy Awards.
And the Oscar goes to Nomadland.
The tale of living on the road, Nomadland, took home the big award of the night, and Chloe Zhao became just the second woman to win the Best Director award, also for Nomadland. It was, of course, a very different Oscars night. The setting was low-key and informal. The audience of nominees, small and distanced. Well, a new music program in Brampton has been bringing smiles to their audience. Spread the Joy connects students from a group called Music at the Towers to seniors in their community. And since it can't play in person, the kids put on a virtual performance, playing their instruments over Zoom or the phone.
Hi, my name is Johan Ragubar. Hi, my name is Amadea Ragubar, and we're going to be playing Allegro by S. Suzuki. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It is intended to offer the opportunity of orchestral playing and learning and experience for children at the lowest possible cost. So we have the most amazing, very high standard professional musicians who automatically, when we were shut down from our room to rehearse, they just automatically switched to online private lessons. Our admin assistant has taken on the task of putting together the seniors with the students.
The kids have been playing for them on Wednesdays. We have a set time when we call them, and they look forward to hearing from them, and we look forward to calling them. And so this is something that is a highlight in their week.
Gives us something to think about, and when we're in lockdown we don't have a lot to think about other than grumble, and this calms us. That's the main thing. Puts smiles on our faces.
It's fun being able to share music with other people, and it just feels good.
People living in seniors' homes are around seniors all the time, and not so many little ones and young ones, so that's I think that's the thing that makes it refreshing.
We have fun doing it and bringing the joy to other people.
The Spread the Joy program is just one way that we were hoping to give back for all of the generosity that has been expressed to us. It truly is reaching every part of our community.
Bravo, Ragubar kids. And that, of course, Ottawa tonight. Looks like there's some nice sunshine in the forecast for you tomorrow. Warmer temperatures perhaps later in the week. Checking in with Sophia again. My tulips are just about to bud. I'm not sure they're going to make it.
Oh, you know what? They were hardy after this last snowfall. They can do it after the frost advisory tonight as well. Yeah, they are hardy just like we Canadians are in the face of an ever-changing spring. And boy, is it going to be another roller coaster ride this upcoming work week. Who will see the 20-degree heat? That is the question. Here's what you need to know for the week at a glance. We will bookend with some cooler temperatures, end with some seasonal temperatures. And who will see that midweek 20-degree warm-up? You might not get to it quite that far in the city of Toronto. It's more of a southwestern Ontario story for the big warm-up. Here's why. Let's backtrack a little bit. Monday, as you mentioned, Maribel, the clouds move. You will get some sunshine in the city of Ottawa as well. We're back to seasonal. Low pressure begins to come in, though. It's the same low pressure system that will turn up the heat later on in the week. You can kind of see sort of where that warm front will be draped. And here's what you need to know. It's two teams. Everybody in the west will be into that warm sector and that southerly flow. Everybody into the east will be kind of a cooler northerly flow. well, the escarpments are the dividing line behind this big temperature divide throughout the day Tuesday, and it's going to be like a 10 or 15 degree temperature divide on Tuesday. Look at the forecast temperatures for Windsor, 25, 10 degrees less for those of you in the city of Toronto. Now when you turn it up to the feels like nearly 30 degrees in Windsor on Tuesday, and with that cool lake breeze, for those of you around the lake, it will be only 14. More even keel for those of you on Wednesday. Spotty shower chance for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we're cooler into that first weekend of May. But I think we're looking at some warmth for that first week of May. We have to get by, again, the frost tonight, though, first.
Shorts weather in Windsor. Thanks, Sophia.
Welcome.
And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. Take care and stay safe out there, everyone. Good night.